Hi, I'm Renee Mazza, if you don't already follow. Tonight I'm going to share something a little deeper, a little more personal than what I normally put out there on social media. For me, the tougher stuff or the things I struggle with are a little harder for me to share than everything else. But this story is important, and it's something that's really impacted me and my life, my family, over the past 6 or 7 months. And it's also a huge reason why this prep for the Arnold in March is so meaningful and important to me. So I'll start with from the beginning, I guess. In July, I was competing at Team Universe, which is a national show for NPC. It's a chance to get your IFBB Pro card. I had qualified for it back in April, and I was taking the prep really seriously. I was so excited about it. I really believed I had my shot. So I was into my peak week. It was about June 30th, maybe. And I remember I was just sitting on the couch with my husband, and I stood up, and I felt a little dizzy. Like, I actually turned to him and I said, "So weird, I feel drunk right now," which obviously I was not. I was prepping for a show. I wasn't drinking. I was just sitting home. But I had been drinking a ton of water. So immediately I thought of these stories that I had heard about water intoxication. And, once you get nervous about something, your mind kind of runs wild. So it didn't go away, and I kept every time I stood up, I was dizzy, and it was a very strange feeling. So I made the biggest mistake possible, and I went on the internet, and I Googled my symptoms, basically, and water intoxication was showing up everywhere, and of course stories about people dying, and so I actually ended up passing out. I was really freaked out, and when I came to, my husband was all nervous, and called the ambulance. I went to the hospital, and really everything was fine. But I just had, I don't know, I didn't know what happened. I thought that something that I had done in my diet or something was creating it. Basically, the doctor told me I was okay to continue with my peak week and to compete, just to keep up on my electrolytes, which were slightly low, but not anything crazy. So I thought, okay, maybe it was that. Maybe I was just feeling a little lightheaded just from dieting. I mean, I was eating, but not maybe as much as usual. I was drinking a ton of water. So kind of went on. I was really never the same from that night. Something about something traumatizing like that, I guess, leaving your house on a stretcher, really, like, convinced that you did something that might kill you. I mean, it's kind of scary, and I know it seems dramatic, but when you feel certain things, that's what you feel. So I had some very, very severe anxiety ever since then about my health, and it's hard to even explain anxiety to anyone who's never experienced it, but it's not something that you even have control over. You can't control your mind, the thoughts that pop into it and kind of just run around in circles in there, and you try to get them out, and you feel pretty nuts. It turned out I figured it out after a panic attack or two later, that is why I fainted in my house that night. I had a panic attack because I had convinced myself that I was dying. So I felt more at ease, I guess, knowing that that's why that happened that night. But I couldn't stop. The smallest things would set on like a full-blown anxiety attack, sometimes to the point of almost passing out. I learned to talk myself out of them, but it was really debilitating. Like, for example, another night, just lying on the couch. It sounds like I lie on the couch all the time at night, but it's actually very rare. This is why I keep busy. But lying on the couch, I turned a little bit, and I had like a little muscle twinge, or whatever you want to call it. It kind of pinched a little bit, and the tiny little thought of a heart attack popped into my... I don't know why. Like, I would have a heart attack. I don't know why I would ever think that. But once a thought enters your mind and you're an anxious person, it's like I just kept trying to like brush it off, keep watching the show until it was to the point where I couldn't even breathe. I had to leave the room and just go like bawl my eyes out in the bathroom because I didn't know what else to do. There's like this release of something that needs to happen when you start to feel like that. So this was my life for 5-6 months. Constant everything. I was not myself. I was quiet and dull and wasn't really laughing as much as usual. Much snippier with my family, which I hate to be because they're wonderful. I mean, I have an amazing, beautiful life, which I think made me feel even guiltier for having these issues. It sounds silly, but it's just the way things work when you're feeling this way. So I decided I needed to go see someone, a psychotherapist, someone I could talk to, and figure out why I was so convinced that I was dying. So I started to see her on my first visit with her. Just in telling her a little bit about me and what I do, she suggested that I not compete anymore, and that was devastating because, I mean, it's hard to even explain, but competing has just done something for me. It's shown me my abilities and my ability to commit myself to something and how dedicated I really am and how strong my mind can be. It's not about, it's not about your body or the physical aspects of it even as much as it is exercising your mind and its strength to power through things. I didn't want to give that up at all. I mean, and I had already registered for the Arnold when I went to see her, and I had a lot of thinking to do. So I did a lot of thinking and a lot of crying and wondering, if I really could handle it. And basically her thoughts were that I probably couldn't handle having that much control over my body and my health with the diet and the training and everything if I was having these issues. So I understood it and I really wondered. And then as it turned out, I discovered I have vertigo, which most people would be very upset to find out. But for me, I was so relieved because I realized that's what started everything. When I stood up from the couch and was feeling dizzy, vertigo. I wasn't dying ever. So it gave me this sense of understanding why that night ever happened in the first place, and I had a concrete reason for it, and I felt, I don't know, like I could breathe again. Granted, I have days now where I can't get off the couch and I'm vomiting from the room spinning, but I'm working on it. I'm getting some different treatments and hoping that it can go away. But, and it puts a damper on some workouts and stuff too. I can't do quite as much like plyometrics and cardio stuff that I'm used to doing, but I've switched up my routine a little bit and you can get past anything. So that has helped me get past all of this health anxiety. I think I knew something was wrong and I couldn't pinpoint it, so everything was wrong. I thought I had brain tumors, aneurysms, blood clots, everything. Everything was wrong with me for those 5-6 months. I couldn't get my mind to focus on anything else. So knowing what was causing me to not feel right just changed everything. So this particular prep now means so much to me because I feel like I've overcome so much, and I feared that I wasn't even going to be able to do it and that I wouldn't be able to handle it. So to be able to get on that stage that day is going to just mean everything to me. And the fact that my family is going to be there makes me so happy. My husband and my son can't really be at every competition. It's really hard because he's only 3 now. So for every other competition, he was only 1 or 2. And it's really hard to get a 1 or 2-year-old to sit through competitions, especially the big ones. So they may not actually be at the show because that might be kind of tough. It's going to be a pretty big one. But they're coming with me to Ohio, and I'm so happy. Just that support, it's going to mean so much to me. And so I really wanted to share this a little bit for myself, and also because I think there's a lesson to be learned in that if your heart is really in something, you can overcome anything that gets in your way. You know, we all have different reasons that we're chasing after whatever it is we're chasing. But I knew I wasn't done yet, and I needed to figure this out so that I could keep pushing. I don't know when I'll be done, but I know it won't be until I've taken myself as far as I can. And remember, you know, no matter how things appear on the outside, we're all fighting our own battles in private, and you know, obstacles were put there for a reason, and I feel so much certainty now about everything that I'm doing and everything in my life. Life wasn't meant to be easy. You'd never get any stronger if it were. So thank you so much for listening and watching. And best of luck to everyone on whatever it is that you're chasing. Remember never to settle.